Today, I'd like to introduce Anglo Australian Resources and our Mandala Gold Project. This is a significant gold discovery and it is right on the doorstep of Kalgoorlie. Anglo Australian Resources has been around for a long time. However, the bedrock mineralisation at Mandala is very much a new story, and it is revitalising this company. Late last year, there was certainly a board dispute between some board members and shareholders as to how to best take the company forward. Ultimately, the disputing board members and shareholders all wanted the best outcome for Anglo Australian. How to achieve it was what was in dispute. The dispute was eventually settled with the appointment of a new management team, and that team is a team from Egan Street Resources. We were appointed in January of this year. Since then, the company has raised $5.9 million. $500,000 was raised in January of this year. This was done basically to keep the lights on. And then following that, we put out a notice of meeting to refresh our placement capacity late January. And we raised over $5.3 million in late February following the update of the meeting. This new management team from Egan Street successfully took Egan Street from an IPO in September 2016 and took the Rothsay Gold Project from an exploration project through to definitive feasibility study and into a fully permitted mine development. Silver Lake Resources then came and applied and took a successful takeover of the company. So we certainly believe we have the skill set to take Mandala to a shovel-ready status and into production. Currently, the company is well capitalised with over $3.4 million cash in the bank. That is sufficient to complete the current diamond and RC drill programs, to complete a maiden mineral resource estimate by the end of this calendar year, and also to commence the flora, fauna, metallurgical, geotechnical and hydrogeological studies. All of those studies are what go into forming your pre-feasibility and definitive feasibility study phases, which are to come. When we joined Anglo, the reason we joined was three things. We liked the geography at Mandala, we liked the geology at Mandala, and we liked the scale. So talking about the geography, Mandala is just outside Kalgoorlie. It has sealed road access, it's on granted mining tenements, and it is surrounded by over 8 million tonnes per annum of gold processing infrastructure, all within 50 kilometres and all on sealed roads. To start with, you've got St Ives, which is a 4.7 million tonne per annum process plant owned by Goldfields, which is effectively the 8th largest gold producer on the planet. You've got Higginsville, which is Karora Resources, which is a TSX listed gold producing company with 1.3 million tonne per annum just south of us. Then you have South Kalgoorlie, which is 1.2 million tonne per annum capacity owned by Northern Star Resources, also within 50 kilometres by road. And finally at Coolgardie, you've got the FMR investments mill called Greenfields, which has a 1 million tonne per annum capacity. We are certainly in a good location. Moving on to the geology, here you can see the Mandala syenite, which is the pink image surrounded by the sediments. So this is effectively a granitic intrusion. There is a major splay that runs to the east of this Mandala syenite, the Zylooka Shear, which runs to the east, and that locates deposits such as Kandana and Frog's Legs. Effectively, there's a major splay that's run west of the Zylooka Shear, which runs on the western boundary of our Mandala syenite, and we believe this is what's introduced the mineralising fluids and effectively deposited the gold. It's demagnetised the syenite on that western margin. In terms of the history, we purchased the Mandala project from Goldfields in 2003, so it has certainly been in the family for quite some time. We mined 23,000 ounces in 2006, 2007, and effectively that came in at a grade of 7.5 grams per tonne. We actually reconciled at 130% of reserve grade. The free cash that project generated was used for a number of other projects that was in the Anglo Australian portfolio. That effectively meant that Mandala lay dormant until targeted bedrock exploration commenced, which was only in March of 2019. So this is a new discovery. And it's a new discovery that has a potential significant scale. The plot that you can see in the image here is a plot of the peak downhole gold values. There is over 4 kilometres worth of mineralisation along this trend. The green image that you can see is an outline of some wireframes that were done prior to the involvement of the new management team. So that was 0.5 kilometre worth of mineralisation back then. We have since doubled it at Mandala East, and we've added another 0.5 kilometre of mineralisation at Mandala South. The system remains open along strike, and it certainly remains open at depth. There is significant potential scale here on our tenure. At Mandala East, we now have over 1 kilometre of bedrock mineralisation. The RC drilling reported in June doubled the strike extent, and the recently completed diamond drilling, which we released this morning, has now extended the depth by over 150 metres from the previous deepest intersection. The mineralisation is wide and it's certainly high grade. The new diamond results which released today included 76 metres at 1.2 grams per tonne and 13 metres at 7 grams per tonne. You combine that with some of the previous significant intercepts, 26 metres at 8, 38 metres at 5, 27 metres at 8.5, 21 metres at 4.5. The list certainly goes on. MDRC D191, which we did report this morning, showed visible gold at 410 metres downhole, which is our deepest intersection to date. The magnetics that we have on this tenure also show significant potential. Some of these targets, there's potential targets to grow at Mandala East and at Mandala South. The magnetic lodes that we're interested are linked to structures that certainly appear to host gold mineralisation, and we have used this method of targeting to basically grow Mandala East to the north and south. And we've also used this technique to actually target the southeast extension, which we reported in June 2019. Additionally, when we look at these magnetic images, and we look particularly at Mandala South, there is potential for similar scale mineralisation that we've already found at Mandala East to be reported at Mandala South. Now I'd just like to take you through 3 cross sections quickly. Section 1 shows the diamond intersection MDRCD 147. So this was reported in June of this year. This was designed to test the mineralisation down to 200 metres below surface. It returned 8 metres at 8 and 24 metres at 2 and was demonstrating mineralisation at 230 metres vertical depth. The diamond drilling currently underway is designed to test mineralisation at 200 metres of vertical depth along multiple sections across the strike of Mandala East, and to date this is being successfully demonstrated. Next slide is the southern extension that we have to Mandala East, where we're showing 2 recently released diamond holes. Both holes intersected very broad zones of mineralisation. In addition to that, there was over 21 occurrences of visible gold that were logged in these diamond intersections. So in hole 229, there was 200 metres worth of mineralisation where visible gold was logged, and in hole 191, there was 140 metres. Mineralisation now is demonstrated to over 350 metres below surface in this section. There is certainly a lot of work for us to do here at Mandala East. We need to understand what is controlling the mineralisation and also to confirm if there are any biases being introduced because of the nuggety effect that we're seeing in the core. Notwithstanding that, Mandala East certainly continues to grow along strike and now at depth. Moving on to Mandala South, we're now 1 kilometre further to the south from Mandala East, so a long way along strike, and we have delineated 0.5 kilometre worth of bedrock mineralisation in this area. This area is very lightly drilled, and we believe it has similar scale potential to Mandala East, and is currently being diamond drilled as we speak. This diamond drilling will provide invaluable information to assist with the upcoming RC drilling, which will commence before the end of this quarter. To date, drilling has delineated very broad zones of mineralisation, albeit it is under thicker, unconsolidated cover in this area and is located a lot closer to the sediment contact. It is early days at Mandala South also, but we already have significant strike extent in this area, broad zones of mineralisation, and the right magnetic low anomaly for exploration success. So, to finish up, we're drilling now at Mandala. By October, we would have drilled over 23 kilometres, and that's only in 6 months. We are located in a Tier 1 location surrounded by over 8 million tonnes per annum of gold processing infrastructure. The Mandala Gold Project is growing, 1.5 kilometres of bedrock mineralisation, and it remains open. Mineralisation is also open at depth, with the deepest intersection now at over 350 metres below surface. The key management team in place has a history of success with the recent success at Egan Street Resources, and we are motivated to go one step further and take Mandala project and get it into production. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Marc. A couple of questions have come through to us. What are the best geological analogies for the syenite-hosted mineralisation at Mandala?
Look, I think one's closer to home. You could certainly look at Dacian with their Jupiter deposit, but more importantly, Goldfields with the Wallaby deposit. And then there's some very large deposits over in Canada that have a similar cyanide-hosted granitic intrusion.
So there's significant growth potential.
Some of the ones over in Canada are Tier 1 deposits, so there is certainly potential at depth. And this whole MDRC 191, where we've intersected such a broad zone of mineralisation, the southeast extension that we have and the extension of Mandurah East to the south is potentially joining at depth. So it does have the potential to change the way we think about Mandala going forward.
And what's your strategy going forward? Is it to develop a standalone project, or do you envisage selling it to one of the many nearby bigger operators?
Interesting question. I think irrespective of what the strategy is at the end, what we do going forward is going to be the same. We will build a robust development project going forward. We will do the work technically correct, and that's exceptionally important because you need that to be able to demonstrate and achieve debt funding, just to the same extent you will need it to be able to get a potential acquirer to be comfortable with the technical work. So what we'll do is develop a really robust project going forward. Whether an M&A option comes, we can't really influence that outcome.
Now you've got two drilling programs afoot, a diamond program and a planned RC program. Will that be enough, or those collectively be enough to get you to a resource?
That should be enough for us to put forward a maiden resource this year. Our intention would be to go back and continue diamond and RC drilling upon completion of this current program. Ideally, we'd like to get to a 20 by 40 pattern within the main Mandala East zone, certainly given the nuggety nature of the gold that we're seeing. I mean, you would have seen one of those images, MDRC 191, you could see multiple sections of visible gold in the core. It assayed 0.8 grams per tonne, so there's some work that we need to do to really make sure we get the right grade in that resource.